Hey guys, welcome back to Telltale. I'm Emily,
I'm Greg.
and today we're going to be continuing our Philip K. Dick series.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the short story, The Cookie Lady,
The Cookie Lady.
that we read. I liked this one a lot. That was a fun story.
It was good.
So premise is this little boy goes and meets this older woman every day, and she gives him cookies, and then he sits and reads to her begrudgingly because he's, a kid. And as she lays there and listens to him read and his proximity to her, she starts like feeling younger again. And then when he leaves, she stops feeling young. And so it happens again. He comes, he eats cookies, he reads to her, she gives him the rest of the cookies, and he leaves, and then she starts feeling old again. And when he goes home, his parents are like, "You are so worn out after visiting that old lady. What is going on? Like, we don't want you seeing her anymore. Like, this is weird."
Mm-hmm.
And so the little boy is just kind of like, "Oh, but she makes such great cookies." And his parents are like, "Fine, you can see her for one last time, but you will tell her it is the last time ever."
Mm-hmm.
And so he shows up again to this old lady's house the next day. And he informs her, "Oh, this is the last time I'm going to be here." And she's like, "Okay, I didn't know if you were even coming today, so let me get some cookies in the oven, and then we can sit and you can read to me until they're done." So she puts the chair really close to herself, and as he's reading, she reaches out and touches him. And she's like, "Does this bother you that I'm touching you? I just like the company a lot, and it's just nice to have someone nearby." And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine, I guess." And so, as she's touching him, she becomes a young woman again. And so she feeds him, gives him the cookies, and as he's leaving, he just, like, starts basically withering away. And that's kind of where it ends. Like, spoiler alert, but not really, because you know that something bad... Like, there's just this foreshadowing that it's going to happen anyway through the whole story.
Yeah.
But eventually, he just becomes dust.
Yeah.
So this is, like... Having just come off of the Dracula kick we were on, this feels like a vampire story without the character knowing they're a vampire. So really interesting. I really like this one a lot, just because it's simple. It's a simple story that's just very compelling and very interesting.
It's simple, but like everything Philip K. Dick, it's not.
No.
The basic story, I saw it coming from page
of
one.
course, I did. Yeah,
The
foreshadowing is real obvious. Yeah.
What was going to happen here. So I don't think we're even spoiling
I had a very
anything.
Hansel and Gretel vibe going.
Yeah.
kind of thing where I'm like, all right, so somehow this kid's just going to end up dying. I just know it.
Yeah. And so you have a Twilight Zone twist at the end, but it's one you see coming from a mile away. But there's something more. It's a very short story. Very short. This one and the next one that we did, The Eyes Have It, extremely short stories, very quick reads. And so minor works among Philip Dick's oeuvre, but there's with everything Philip K. Dick, there's more to it than just the basic story.
Yes.
And in this one, the way I'm seeing it is a whole dynamic of exploring relationships. In particular, how oftentimes in a relationship, one person can be getting something out of it at the expense of the other person.
Yes.
The other person is, dying or withering, and but the first person is totally happy in the relationship.
Yeah.
There are a lot of that kind of symbiotic, real human relationships that go on. You don't
the
literally
energy
turn
vampires.
to dust.
It's like the whole time I was reading this, I was like, she's an energy vampire. Like, she seems like an energy, but she's also stealing youth. Like, are they the same? I don't know. That's where my brain went immediately. I'm like, this is how introverts feel.
Yeah.
I am the little boy who just wants the cookies and to read, and she is like, I don't know, any
Sucking
number
the
of
life
people
out of
in
it.
my life that
yeah.
suck out all my time and energy from me, kind of thing, which, I mean, it's nobody's fault,
Yeah.
really, but, like, I just get exhausted from socializing with certain people, and it's just their personality, and it's just the way I am. It's no big deal, like, but yes, this was very extreme form of that.
Yeah. And it also was interesting to reflect on this after reading Dracula and The Halloween Tree. All three books are, Dracula and The Halloween introductory are about the power of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
This one gives a little different.
This is the toxicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a toxic friendship where, the old woman isn't trying to be evil, but she ends up sucking the whole life out of this kid in order to make herself feel young, in order to make herself be young again, and just an interesting counterpoint to the other two books we've read just recently.
It almost perpetuates the stereotype that we had been talking about in one of our other videos too, of like feeling like the elderly or older people are obsolete over time, or like we don't honor. It feels like this perpetuates that myth of like, oh, old people are just obsolete. All they're good for is making cookies and making little boys fat. Which he does a very good job of emphasizing that this little kid is a chonky kid.
Yeah.
He's a fat boy. But that's part of the story, is he's very food motivated. And so the relationship is very shallow. It's really interesting.
Yeah. And so it's very different from anything we've read yet by Philip Dick. It was published in a magazine called Fantasy Fiction, which was a short-lived magazine. We're still stuck in June of 1953. And so it's not a science fiction story. It's a purely fantasy story. And we haven't had that many stories like that from him at this point.
And I'm interested because he tends to write in themes, so I'm interested to see this theme in a different way later. I have a feeling that's going to happen.
He did later on write some other fantasy and straight out horror stories.
Nice.
We have yet to get to the father thing.
Ooh,
that's a great one.
Interesting. Yeah.
Coming up.
One of the things that I thought was interesting too is the motivations of the parents, of why are they so frustrated that he's so tired when he comes home. Like, don't you want your kid to be tired and quiet and not bother you? Like, unless you're using him as some kind of workhorse or something.
Well,
I don't know why my brain went to that, but I'm like, why are you so concerned about his exhaustion?
Because
like,
they probably notice a change, and because young boys don't get exhausted. They seem, to older people anyway, they seem to have infinite energy and just don't stop.
Yeah.
So
part of me was like, are you fat shaming your son? Like, screw you. Let him eat his cookies.
No, I took it as they noticed that there was something up, that there had been a change in him, and they were concerned.
The wisdom of parents. Yeah, I took it the whole other way, where it's like, they could be concerned parents, or they could be, like, mad that he can't do chores and what he can do for them. And when you bring up, like, the toxic friendships and stuff, I'm like, oh, it could be a toxic family dynamic, too.
Could be.
So, but
and not all parents are like that.
No, mine weren't. Mine were pretty good, have to say. But yeah, it was good. It was a good story. So what do you think? Is it top tail status or not for you?
Not quite.
Not quite? Yeah.
It's
I kind of felt that way too.
Not quite. It's definitely worth reading.
Yeah.
Definitely worth looking up and reading it. It's very short, won't take up much of your time. You'll enjoy it. But as far as it being a great classic, I can't go there.
Yeah. I'd have to say the same. And I like, too, that it could be... I keep interpreting it as a type of vampiric story. But, like, it is so... She's so unaware. It seems that she has this ability, or that she's doing this to this boy, that it's at his expense in any way.
She's aware, but she doesn't know she's hurting him.
Yeah, and it seems like a vampire would know.
Yeah.
Or, like, a witch would know if they're hurting the other one.
But that's why I saw immediately the toxic relationship theme, because somebody in real life who is getting something out of a relationship but hurting the other person, they're usually oblivious to the fact.
Yeah, that's true. And the child is so young, he doesn't have the self-awareness to communicate it, I guess.
Right.
Like, he's just like, oh, I'm so tired. He's not making connections.
He's just getting cookies.
Yeah, he's just getting cookies and enjoying himself.
Not realizing there's anything bad going on.
Interesting. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about this one. This one was pretty good, though. I liked it.
It was good.
Yeah. Not his best work, but some really good stuff there.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So, like us and subscribe to us and come back for more. Leave comments if you have something to say to us about it. We'd like to hear it. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.